5, 4. What's up, profitable stylists? All right. We have a very special announcement to make next week.
Next week?
Next week. So tune in. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you watch. It's a very, very, very special announcement. It's a very important one. So please, please, please check it out.
No, today
Bernard,
we are going to talk about... Go ahead.
Bernard is going to share with us his secret that he discovered from last week because he's been playing Sherlock Holmes over here. How do we keep client retention? How do you get clients to keep coming back? What is your secret, Bernard?
All right, so I do have a secret, but I just got to be real for just a second. You saw me scratching my head. I have never had lice in my life, but all of us deal with that in the salon, right? From time to time.
Did you just say lice?
Recently, I said lice for some reason in the salon. I know. That's why my head's itching because I'm thinking about it and talking about it. We just had a Christmas party and we had a bunch of ladies come in, and a couple of the ladies we had to say, we can't do your hair today. We had to send a couple home, a couple of healthcare workers. We had one of them's teenage kid was getting ready to go to this Christmas party that we go to. And we sent 3 people home last week. I don't think we've sent people home in years because of this, but we're just getting cold. It usually is a little more during the summer. It was really a little weird. And me and my wife were talking about it this morning, just how crazy it was. And so I keep looking in the mirror. I'll shampoo my hair twice a day, morning and evening. Nothing can live in this hair, but it's crazy how when you talk about it, you just I'm sure people are watching right now. Anyway, forget about that.
Fire fixes everything. You need to burn your hair.
Yeah, that will get rid of them. That's right. That's the cleansing fire. So listen, I know I touched on it a little bit last week about how to keep customers forever. I've been doing this thing for about 30 years, maybe 31 now. And it's really fun when I know I've been out from behind the chair for about, I should really figure it out, for about 7 years now. I just haven't been cutting hair or working in a salon daily. Every once in a while I jump behind the chair. And about a week or two ago, they forgot some hair in my office. They're supposed to get it during the week, and I had to come in after hours in the evening, I think it was, or they had to change the color. I don't know what it was, but I had to come in and help. Oh, it was actually after the video you came in town to help us make. And then when they cleaned up, they brought all the tools from the salon up into the office, locked them up so they didn't have an extension machine in the salon. Wow. Extensions. So I come up here and the client says, so Bernard, you're going to help with the extensions today? I said, I am. I'm going to help her. I did half the head. Shelby did half. It went so fast. I still got it. It was a lot of fun. But the client reminds me that she has been coming to me for about 26 years. Hey. And I was like, wow. And I know I still have one client that came to me the very first job I had, which was only 1 year in the beginning of my career. So I know that one's been coming for 30 to 31 years. Now, they don't all come for that long, but I just wanted to say, I have a good handful of clients that have been coming to me between 25 and 30 years. Even though I'm not doing it anymore, I still have that relationship with them. And I think it all kind of started with just being a real person, being friendly, growing with them. Because I was a young, dumb hairdresser in my early 20s, saying all the wrong things, doing all the wrong things, and genuinely growing up with them. Some of these ladies feel like they helped raise me, and some of them kind of did. They kind of guided me along the way. But what was unique for me in my path or journey as a hairdresser is in the very beginning, before a hairdresser, I had done some construction, some woodworking. I was good with my hands, but I had never done hair. So I come out of this house building industry and thinking, I don't know if this hair thing's for me. And I do braiding the first week of class, and I'm pretty good at it. I was like, oh, wow, this is just another crafty kind of thing you do with your hands. You just got to get everything right, and I can do it. Now, updos, chemicals for color, that took me a little longer to figure out. But when it came to braiding, pretty good right away. Hair cutting, I got the geometry of it for the most part. I could open and close the scissors. I got the tools. But the thing I was best at was just an up and coming growing field at the time, 30 years ago, was artificial nails. Mm. And so somebody said, hey, anybody want to take this nail class? I said, I guess. This girl said, yeah, take it with me. You can borrow my stuff. You don't have to buy that kit. I tried it. The nail was a little crooked. I always talk about it. It was a little crooked, but it was the best blending nail there was out there. I never did a crooked nail again, but I understood the sandpaper from coarse to medium to thin. I knew how to buff it smooth. They didn't have to teach that part to me because I'd done it on wood before. So all of a sudden, I'm doing artificial nails on girls because I'm good at it. And who doesn't love doing something they're good at? I'm getting lots of compliments and praise. I'm charging clients, going to their homes doing nails while I'm still in school, which is a big no-no. When you're in school, you're not supposed to be charging. But I need to survive, So immediately I get into the salon and I realize nails is an easy thing to do. The clients come every 2 weeks. That was amazing. So really quickly, they realize I need to make my appointment before I leave or I'm not going to be able to get in with Bernard. So I'm making these clients appointments every 2 weeks on the book. Before you know it, a couple of them are family members, and they're trying to, I can always remember Ms. Lynn and Ms. Margie. They were both grandmas to the same grandchildren. Their children had gotten married, So they're like, I like 7 o'clock every Friday morning. Well, I do too. So one of them decided I'll book out a whole year in advance. And the other one's like, are you kidding me? Wow. She got on Friday. And so then the other one says, well, book me out 2 years in advance. And the next year I want the 7 instead of the 8. And so I started, grandma's fighting. And so they never fought in front of each other. It was just kind of behind the scenes, little tit for tat kind of thing, jokingly. And one was a little more, I don't know. I shouldn't get into this. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, all harmless. But I had other clients doing the same thing. And when my hair business started to grow, I started to realize, wait a minute, these guys aren't booking ahead of time like the nail clients are. I'm starting to get busier. So what I started to learn is when you're a new hairdresser, you don't even realize how powerful or how important it is to reschedule your customers ahead of time because you've got so much time that you just think, if they like me, they'll come back. But that's the kind of thing. I like to separate things. And in my hair world, I like to separate things into the things that you can make happen and the things that you let happen. So if you can, there's some things that are just going to happen. They might happen slower. You might build a clientele. They might come back. You might get them to make another appointment, but it's all the mights. And if you can turn a maybe, a might, or a let happen into a making it happen, it can. Not everything is possible. But in this case, you can. Right before a customer leaves, you can say, let's go ahead and make your next appointment. And through the years, I started to learn, and I realized I didn't do it right away in the beginning either. But I teach stylists how to do that from the very beginning now. And you've got to have the mindset, like you have to kind of pretend that you're booked solid. And I'm going to go to the complete other end real quick. And I'm going to say where I got to. And this is the growth arc of me going from a know-nothing, seemingly humble guy because I don't have anything, know anything, not good at it, getting good at it, getting a little arrogant about my career, and then having to humble myself again in the end. So let's talk about the height of arrogance. A lady comes in, I'm booked solid, and this is where the teaching helps. This is where you learn some of the greatest lessons, good and bad, because, bad things happen when you're an ass and you're arrogant. And so this lady comes in and and I'm saying you should do a consultation, but you shouldn't necessarily do it as smart aleck as I did. She comes in and she says, I want you to highlight my hair. It was in the book, and I was like, let's talk about what we're going to do today. And then I said, this is what's important about a consultation. Let's talk about everything we're going to do today, in the future, and what I expect of you and what you expect of me. So I said, what do you want? She said, I want highlights like you did on my friend. And I said, okay, so let me tell you how I work. I've got a couple of assistants working for me. I'm going to have one girl's going to shampoo your hair. One girl's going to help me highlight your hair. This other girl over here, or one of those two, is going to, at the time I had two girl assistants. It could have been guys. I've had guy assistants also. But this time I just remember it was two girls. And one of them's going to shampoo, blow dry, and style your hair. And then the salon coordinator is going to reschedule your next appointment in 4 weeks to come back and do this all over again. And she said, I don't want anybody else working on my hair. I said, what do you mean? And she said, I scheduled with you. I want you to do my hair today. And I said, oh, I'm so glad we're having this consultation then, because that's not how I do it. You liked Miss So-and-so's hair. You scheduled with me to get your hair done the way I do it. And I'm thinking in my head, this is how I do it, girl. Don't tell me how to do my job. Now, I could have been a little nicer. I was probably even ruder than I'm saying right now. And I said, well, this is how your friend's hair got done that you like so much. I'm thinking you probably don't want me to do your whole head because it won't come out as good because some of these assistants are better than me. But instead, I said, first of all, you don't come in here and tell me how to do my job. I don't recommend this. I'm just saying this.
Oh, that's what you did?
Height of arrogance. I said, you don't come in here and tell me how to do my job. You like so-and-so's hair. You want it like that. This is how it gets done in my salon. And then you make the next appointment. And if you don't want to do that, we should not do your hair today. You should probably leave here and go to another salon. Now, knowing I have back-to-back clients, I am not starving for money or clients. I'm booked solid. I don't need one more client that doesn't like me and I don't like them, is what I'm thinking. Now, when you're brand new, you're thinking, oh, yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Do whatever you want. I need the money so bad. I need the client so bad. You do whatever they want. So there is a balance here. You don't have to be so humiliated and begging, but then you don't have to be so arrogant and rude either. And so, but what it made me realize was at some point you get to the point where if a client's not going to reschedule before they leave, all it does is cause problems. It causes problems because then they call in a few weeks, they want their hair done and they can't get in. And then they are mad because you don't have time for them. And then they're trying and they're like, I got to wait like 2 weeks. I'm just gonna have to go somewhere else. Or it's so hard to get in with you. Look how bad my hair looks now by the time I got in with you. So I explained all that to her. If you don't make your appointment in 4 weeks, you won't be able to get in. At the end of this, she said, go ahead and do it your way. So she did end up staying. The arrogance did end up keeping the client, doing a good job. She stayed with me for a while, but I'm sure she wasn't happy. I wasn't pleasant at first. So I learned how to kind of get all those things done, but in a polite way. It's like, ma'am, if you don't make your appointment now, in the future, if you like your hair today, you should make your next appointment. I don't care if it's 5 or 6 weeks. Let's just try it. If you don't make your appointment, you won't be able to get in. You won't be happy. I won't be happy. It won't go smooth in the future. So we have to talk in the beginning about what we're going to do today on your hair, how long it's going to take. And if I find that what we're talking about is going to take longer than is scheduled on the book, we don't get started today either. Because ahead of time, I'm thinking, if I'm running late with you, and then I'm trying to rush you at the end and it doesn't turn out good because I rushed, and I'm making the next client run late because I'm running over because I'm trying to get this one done. I committed, bit off more than I could chew, whatever you want to call it. So managing your book is super important. Just sit down and relax. And you know what? If that client gets mad and leaves because you're not going to do everything they want you to do today, that is okay. It's better to lose that client right now than losing this one and the next one because you're running late. You're not doing what you said you could do. So manage right now through the consultation, and then manage the future through the consultation and get them on the book. And then what happens is as you go about 6 months of scheduling clients, not even that long, but you're doing their next appointment after you run through a cycle and everybody kind of gets used to making their next appointment before they leave. Then you start talking to them about, let's go ahead and I notice it's working every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, every 5 weeks. Well, you're making them fine. Your job schedule's not messing them up too often. If you have to reschedule, it's fine. But let's go ahead and just follow this pattern on through the end of the year. Okay. And so then every October, November, I'd be scheduling everybody from January to December immediately. So I could actually know how much money I'm going to make 6 months from now, at least 80%, because they're all on the schedule already. And so as that happens, you start to feel super powerful. It builds such a great relationship. They just get on this pattern. They get used. They put you on their calendar. They schedule their vacations around their appointments. Sometimes their
That's the magic that
dentist
starts.
appointments. You must have so much to say. That's how I run my book.
That's a lot to break down. That's a lot to break down. Okay, can you start over real quick?
Yeah, you want me to repeat that?
No. So the whole thing with client retention and building your business, it all comes out to be the same thing. At the end of the day, full circle. What we're trying to accomplish, how do you grow your business? You either get new customers, you either expand your current customers, or you don't expand your current customers. The current customers that you have right now spend more than what they do. Those are the three things. And what happens is how you start to retain, how client retention starts to build up is like what Bernard is talking about. You prepare the expectation, you manage the expectation of both the service and the person. Those are two separate things. The classic stylist trope is you got your one client who is the worst pain of the butt, and she takes precedent over everybody else because, Dragon Lady, God forbid, she gets upset, right? And we end up saying like, oh, Bernard's my next one on my book. He's nice. He won't care. I'll just run late on him. I'll reschedule him. I'll push him because I got to take care of Dragon Lady, And what ends up happening is, like Bernard was saying, you end up losing two because Dragon Lady ain't going to stay with you forever. She's going to get mad and the littlest thing is going to set her off and she's gone. But now Bernard's feelings got hurt too. He feels disrespected. Or I'm saying Bernard because it's you right here, right? But like whoever the next client is, that next appointment, because look, you're doing that on this week. Then the next time Dragon Lady comes in, whoever is behind her appointment, you're doing it to that person. Then you're doing it to like 3 or 4 different clients without realizing it over time that you're doing it to multiple people's because you're trying to serve the one, right?
And client retention. That is a word I learned after I started getting clients because I didn't even know what the word retention meant at first, So as I started to learn what client retention meant, another word came up, which was attrition. And it just...
Yes.
Attrition. And I thought, I don't understand that word. It's kind of like the opposite. I don't know. It might even be the same as inflation. Basically, nothing stands still. You might think that you have enough clients. I'm just going to stop marketing. I'm going to just do the clients I have now, never raise my prices, never get new clients, and I'll just be the same forever. But everything in the world, as far as prices are going up, and you're not. So nothing stays the same. Your color chemical charges are going to go up. Your milk at the grocery store is going to be more expensive. Everything, gas at the pump might go up or down. So everything is moving one way or another. You're not going to keep the same clients. Some are going to move. Some are going to die. Some are going to lose their jobs and they have to change or do something different. Some are going to want to change their style where they shave their head or they just don't color anymore. So nothing stays the same. And you have to realize that client retention is not going to ever be static. It's not going to be the same. You have to do something to move forward always, or you're going to slowly be moving backwards, whether you like it or not. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. So one of the client retention classes that I teach, it's a business class. I teach so many different types of classes. From color to styling to cutting, extensions, all that stuff. So one of the business classes, I go over this exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
When a client comes in, from the minute they walk in that door to the minute they leave, the journey that we're been going on about, how is that being managed? And is those expectations being met? Are your expectations being met in addition to the client's expectation? Are theirs being met as well? So it starts off with the consultation once they're in your chair. Absolutely. And once you get past that, the next step, generally speaking, is you take them back to the shampoo bowl or you send them off back to the shampoo bowl, right? How are they getting there? And when they're in that bowl, what is that exchange? Are you starting to chit chat about life? Or are you starting to explain to them, this is how I expect you to wash your hair at home? I physically grab my, they're sitting back in the chair, right? I physically grab their hand and I put it under the running water. And I tell them, does this feel like the temperature at home when you taking a shower? And some of them will say, no, it's way hotter than that. Some of them will say, it's okay, And so I tell them, this is what I expect you to wash your hair at home. And I always make the joke. I say, wash your hair first with this temperature. And if you want to crank it up and turn yourself into a Red Lobster afterwards, have at it with the rest of your body. But for your hair, this is what I need you to be doing, right? And then when I start doing the shampoo, I'll start doing the massage and everything. But then I ask them, do you scrub your head or do you manipulate your scalp like this? How are you washing your own hair? So the entire minute or two of shampooing their hair is not, how is the weather? How's little Susie's recital? What's going on? It's literally, I'm using this kind of shampoo for your type of hair. This is the water temperature. This is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm going to get the stimulation to your scalp, get the lice out your head or whatever crazy stuff you got going on, and then bringing them back to the chair. Once we're back at the chair, this is how I'm combing. I'm doing a commentary like watching a play-by-play as if you're watching some sports game or something, right? I'm doing my own running commentary of myself for two reasons. There are other stylists in the salon who have clients in their chair. I want their clients to hear this. Most importantly, I want the client in my chair to be hearing this. Now, if you are by yourself in your own studio space, then that's fine. All attention on you. And I have heard this from other stylists. How many times can you have the same conversation over and over and over throughout the day? You're repeating yourself 13 times to your 13 clients, but for each 13 clients, it's the first time they're hearing your story, right?
That's right.
So you get tired of your own story. So by doing the running commentary, you're keeping it fresh for yourself. You're managing that time and you're moving the appointment forward, because so many times I have seen it in somebody else's chair. Oh, let me show you the picture. And they spend 5 minutes scrolling until they find the picture because it ain't queued up. It's not ready.
Right.
Oh, let me go get a coffee. Do you want one too? Let me make you one too. Oh, the machine ran out of water. Let's go fill it up again. Yeah, there's so many different aspects to what's happening that gets changed up. Okay.
Right.
And then at the end, so even during the service, most importantly, this is going to be situational. I literally explain to them how I'm doing their haircut. So in case they want to go somewhere else and try to get their haircut, they can tell the stylist what I said I was doing. And then the stylist can try to mimic what I did. Again, this is not for everybody. I openly tell the clients what their color formula is and how I mixed it. And I don't even care if they write it down and try to go take it to... I am that, I'll say confident. Some people can call me cocky or arrogant, like how you were saying, right? I can literally tell you my formula gram for gram, but the way I apply it versus the way you will apply it, I just got that in my head. And nobody's going to apply it with the amount of care and precision that I'm going to do it. That's my confidence.
Yeah, so I agree with all of that. And just in case you guys are coming in late or listening to this, we're going through the whole client journey from the time they hear about us till the time they leave the salon and come back. And we're just in the middle of that journey now. So go back a few videos if you want to see the journey from the beginning. But going through the service specifically right now, from the consultation to the rescheduling, is kind of what I was kind of covering the beginning and the end. Eddie's kind of covering the middle here a little bit. So that is so important. All of that, telling the client what's
my ending here.
Go ahead.
The reason why I do all of this, when you build up to the end, now you've finished, you've styled them, you've spoken about retail, you've spoken about their formula, their haircut, their style, their blow dry, the whole entire running commentary, right? You have built a story. You have built a chapter in their own book. And that story needs to continue in 4, 5, 6 weeks, whatever it is. When we get to the desk, or when it comes time to end the service for that visit, I like to personally reference what time of the year is going to be next. And thank you very, very much for Hallmark. Thank you very, very much for where do you go to buy the stupid cards? Walgreens and CVS and everywhere else, right? There is every day of the calendar, there is something happening. So the next time I see you is going to be Valentine's Day, is going to be April Fool's Day, is going to be Memorial Day is important. It's not stupid. But like every month, there is every 8 weeks, there is something happening that you can reference. It's going to be in their head.
Interesting.
So even if you can't get them to reschedule next time, the time they're there, plant the seed. Do not give up and say, okay, just call me then whenever in about 6 weeks. Nobody's going to remember 6 weeks. But if you say like this, you don't even want to tentatively put something down just in case? Are you sure? Because I book up. I book up real fast. Oh, I don't know, my work, my schedule, my kids, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all right, I got you. I go, look, it's going to be right around Valentine's Day is the next time I'm going to see you. I'm just saying Valentine. I'm just picking something, for example. Next time I see you is going to be about Valentine's Day. So either the week before or the week of, you better get in. You better make sure you get in. Now, when February 1st comes around and everybody starts advertising Valentine's Day, it's going to trigger in her mind, oh, Eddie said something about my hair. Now she's going to start looking in the mirror and she's going to start seeing stuff. That's a workaround to start getting into it.
So what we did in the early days, which so much easier these days, we used to have that paper book, so we had a paper clip in it at 4 weeks, so I could open it up and put them down in 4 weeks. Got so many advanced ways of keeping track of people's calendars. In the beginning, when I wasn't good at getting people on the book, I say, I don't make it a question. It's a statement. Let's go ahead and make your next appointment before you leave. And they go, okay, most of the time. Or they say, I don't know my schedule. I said, listen, it doesn't matter. You don't need to know your schedule. You don't need to remember. You don't even have to leave a deposit. We're going to just put you down and hope that time works for you. It's going to be a rough guess. We're going to call you and remind you. You're going to get a text reminder, an email. If you need to change it for your work, vacation, or life or whatever, just reschedule it then a few days before. But let's just give it a try this time, okay? And I'm doing that whole positive thing. And most of them will do it. Now, what we did in the early days that you just reminded me of that I totally forgot was with that paper clip in the book, we had a column that was just will call is what we called it. So it was not my book. All the people that reschedule go on my book. If they say, I just am not making the appointment, we'd still turn to 4 weeks, which you can put in the calendar under a will call or in your calendar in your phone, put their name and phone number, time for Susie to get back in here, Johnny's haircut due. And so then in the beginning, when you're not so busy, you've got now every day you're doing that. So when 4, 5, 6 weeks comes up, you've got a list of people. If you've got computers covering everything, you can always go back 4 weeks and look and see who hasn't come in or print that report and call all those people. There's a lot of ways to do it, but the simplest way is right now, Eddie won't make his appointment. I'll put Eddie down in 4 weeks in my calendar. Call Eddie, get him back. So make it happen. Again, that's you making instead of letting it happen to try to move forward. I love these chats because it kind of reminds me of things that we used to do in the past that we don't do anymore, or you grow past it so you don't need to do it anymore. Because if a client towards the end didn't reschedule with me, they were never coming again. The only way a client got an appointment with me is if somebody quit, moved, or died. Because I didn't get any more time and I was booked solid, so I'd raise my prices, which nobody does often enough. And that would cause 1 or 2 or 3 people to be like, okay, hit the threshold. That's just too much. I can't do it anymore. If I didn't lose a client or 2 or 3, I raised again immediately after, or I raised a little bit more soon after, or during the same raise. After a week of doing hair, nobody left. I raised it again for the second week. And then after I lost a couple, I'm making more money with less people, and I'm able to fit a few more in. So I knew how important it was to reschedule. And I pretty much made them do it. It was basically like, hey, this is how it works for me during my consultation. If you don't want to reschedule now, we don't do your hair today. That's where it got to with me. So there was no begging, pleading, hoping. I didn't have to use sales tactics. I mean, maybe that was a sales tactic.
No, it will see, and actually, you just said it right there. It's the hardest thing to understand in our industry. We are still running a business. The only problem or the only issue or the only difference, however you want to say it, is simply this. Our assembly line is our hands. The product that we're producing is somebody else's hair. We are dealing with human beings. We're not making products that we're packaging and putting on a shelf to be purchased later. We are producing a product now, which is a person, right? So the interaction of dealing with that person, how do you do that? And how do you keep because it's personal, it's a personal interaction. How do you keep that personal interaction and keep that business even and not have the scales tips too heavy one ways or the other, where it feels too impersonal or too personal?
Every hairdresser seems to do it.
Right? So, and the way you make a game out of it. In the beginning, I'll do two shout outs. I'll use two clients as an example because both of them have been with me for a while and both of them are absolutely hilarious, especially when it comes to the craziness of my scheduling. Because my scheduling's all over the place. And to this day, I still do the pre-booking and I still do the follow-up calls and the will calls as well. So Jamie, love Jamie, I love you if you're watching. She'll call me and say, hey, by the way, I'm confirming and reminding you that you're doing my hair on Sunday. It's gotten to that point over the years, right?
Yeah.
She calls me.
That's funny.
So, and then my other one, Wendy, she's my will call. And I put it on my calendar, Wendy should be about ready for hair next week or two. And I will call her and I'll say, hi, Wendy, what's up? She goes, oh my God, did I miss my appointment? Holy cow. I stopped. My bad. I'm on my way. I'm like, no. I'm only
you never make
You're
an
not
appointment.
in trouble, right? I'm just checking in and I want to see, go look yourself in the mirror real quick. How are you looking? How do you feel? Oh my God. Thank you so much. I love you. Yeah. Not next week is terrible, but the week after is perfect. Well, that puts her right at the 6-8 weeks that she should be at anyways. It's not overly grown out, Carmelina's grandma, she always apologizes to me and says, oh, I'm sorry for being pain of the butt. I'm asking you to do my hair again. And I keep telling her, the more often I see you, the better off it is. It's less work for me to do your hair. You're not being annoying by coming in sooner. It's actually harder to do your hair after 12 weeks than it is to do your hair in 8 weeks. I'm dealing with this much outgrowth versus this much outgrowth. You know what I mean?
So let me tell everybody a little secret. That's his mother-in-law, so he's probably not charging her, so she feels bad coming too often, and she wants to come.
Oh, yeah, right. Her nonna, her grandma. So
let me tell a little trick. RJ could probably do a little clip of this piece right here because I'm going to tell my little secret of keeping clients through the haircut. I was always very open, sharing everything also. But one of the most powerful things I've ever done to hold people for a long time with a haircut was using specialty tools, because most stylists know how to cut hair, shears, scissors, whatever you want to call them. That's pretty even and it's very determined. You can find those lines depending on where they are. But then when you go to customize around the face, around the edges, around the ears, a little wisp here and there with the specialty tools, thinning shears, which have so many different amounts of teeth per square inch, chunking shears where they have big chunks of hair getting taken out, a razor, some sort of carving type, the razors in the combs, I know one company called it a carving comb for a while. When you start adding some texture to people's hair with tools like that, No hairdresser can copy that. That's where it's truly a work of art, creative. I mean, you cannot copy a razor thin and sheared texture cut hair for hair like you can a straight cut. So when I started adding texture, it added so much of my signature that it was hard for anybody else to follow, and it made them like me so much more because it was a little bit more attention to detail. So one of my little tricks within a cut that nobody could copy. And then I'm going to talk about one more. You made me think of this. I'm on your side for telling the truth about everything. I agree that it's the execution that is the secret, and executioner. When the way you execute what you do is the secret. It doesn't matter what color formula. I don't care if they market like me, but the way I got and kept color clients, I didn't care. I never advertised a color company's name because I didn't sell color, but I sold me. I do a great job with the stuff I put on your head. Mm-hmm. So I'd have a lady come in for a haircut, and you could tell she colored her own hair because every time she put it on, she put it all over her head, and the ends were as black as my phone here. And I would say, "You color your own hair, right?" And she'd say, "Yes." I said, "Let me help you out here. If you're going to color your own hair at home, let me tell you how to do it and why." And by the time I got to the end of explaining how she was only supposed to do the roots of her hair, the gray part or the grow out part, because hair grows about a half an inch a month. And if you've got 6 inches of hair, that's 12 months of hair. And every time you put color in your hair over the last 12 months, you've colored these ends that are hanging out on the end, and they're absorbing a little bit more color molecule every single time. And that's why even if you're doing some medium brown, you're just packing so many molecules in on those ends that it starts to look black because there's just so many medium brown molecules. And as you get closer to the head, it looks lighter and lighter. So you got this reverse ombre looking thing going on. It just so black on the ends. If you would just put, even if you just had your husband or your daughter, and I'd start to explain why and how, and she goes, "Maybe I should just let you do it." So often, me being the honest, nice, let me go ahead and tell you how to do it if you're going to do it anyway. It was a good industry conversation instead of how the kids do and talk, like you were saying, stay on the topic of what we do. So often, they would want me to just go ahead, even if it was just one time, just to kind of get it fixed. And I explained to them, now listen, today it's going to be a color correction. And there's no promise I'm going to get that black out of your ends. We might have to cut it off, but I'd like to give it a try. And so I'd explain that whole process next. And of course, lower their expectations and say, we might not be able to get that black out. You might have gone too far. So there's managing and selling along the way always. And I loved how these stories come up of how I used to do things when you're talking about how you do things, because I've never watched you in a salon. You've never really watched me work in a salon. So it's just kind of neat to know that way down in Louisiana, way up in Chicago, we're still doing similar as everybody around the world as far as doing hair, trying to build a clientele, trying to keep them, trying to make some money, trying to survive, trying to get along, trying not to lose the clients through client retention. So I like our chats, Eddie. Merry Christmas, by the way.
Oh, Merry Christmas to you too. Yeah, no, it's interesting to see because you keep mentioning how you haven't been behind the chair, but you still pop in here and there, right?
Yeah.
Every time you and I have done a show together, every time we've been on stage together, a photo shoot, a video, I just come down to visit by you, When you are consistent, when you have a plan, a focused plan, every time you pick up a shears or every time you pick up an extension machine, every time you touch somebody's hair, it is with a purpose. You may not have the exact vision right then and there in that moment, but you have a purpose for why you are touching that hair, right? And watching you go through your whole process and molding the hair into the shape and then the finished product, it's absolutely amazing. So I'll give you the credit on that one, and it's something that I just love working with you and talking to you about because I am of the same mindset. It's with a purpose and the idea comes and it builds, it shows the respect that you have for yourself, that you have for the craft, and for the client. And automatically, whether it's a model or a client or whatever the situation may be, that emotional attachment, that emotional connection, you could just see it through the mirror. You could see it in their eyes. You know, that when they look at themselves, it's just a smile and they're beaming from ear to ear. That is client retention right there. If you can build that emotional connection of their physical self to their emotional self, and you was part of that, you're in.
So you know what? One of my pet peeves, never ask a client how they like their hair. If you can't tell at the end of doing their hair, then
Thank you.
You need to do it again, do something different. You don't have to say, so what do you think? How do you like it? Because at this point, they're lying. Oh, no. No, I mean, you can tell. Look at their face. You're right. I'm watching their face when I do things, when I am flat ironing or curling on or doing some of the style. And if they're just on their phone looking up and rolling their eyes every once in a while, do you need to ask? No, you suck. But if you're like, they put their phone down, they start making comments. How do you get that curl? Oh, they start asking things about the amazing difference you're doing compared to what they can do. Whether it's like, how do you get it that smooth? Well, it starts with the product I use, and then it's got to be dry before I use it. Some people are flat ironing or smooth and ironing with damp to wet hair. You got to get all the moisture out. We got to have the right product in. We have to have the right amount of heat holding it in place while it's cooling. It's not all about the heat. So talking about the chemistry and the dynamics of how heat and cold works. I mean, maybe you're using a cool shot on your blow dry and why that locks in a smooth or a curl or a wave underneath. And so just talking to them about how they can repeat it at home, like you said, that passion I have for how I get where I'm going, and maybe teaching them, because I have a passion for teaching also, and I love to see them learn, hairdressers learn, anything. And then at the end, they're looking at themselves in the mirror, trying to see the back. You love it. That you don't have to ask, and it's the perfect time to say, let's schedule your next appointment right now. Why would they not want to see you again if they are loving their hair right now? So you definitely have to try a little harder if you're not getting those kind of results at the end of the service. That's all I have for today.
That's a high note. I think we'll leave it at that.
I know.
Merry Christmas all the way around to everybody out there. I hope you enjoyed this weekend. I hope you get to spend it the way you want. I hope you eat too much and pass out too long and actually get some sleep.
Join us at 10 a.m. next Thursday. We're going to make that special announcement.
We got a special announcement next week at 10 a.m. Yes, next Thursday.
Goodbye,
all right,
guys.
Everybody. Let us know how you think about client retention, what you guys do for your client retention. We'll catch you all next week.